environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
You ready?
It's the queen of royal badness.
It's time for the Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Highlighting people and things you should know about.
Robin's got you covered. Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Robin's got a lot to talk about.
We're going to take this one over to 275 Halstead, 384 Stuyvesant. We're going to take it over to 155 Morgan.
You are listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580, where we bring you the latest in entertainment news, trending topics, and interviews. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I mean, that's the vibe today. It's a chill, nice, that's a nice way to go into the weekend right there. Andy always brings it. And I haven't heard that one in a very long time. Wow. That's Queen La. Oh, wow. Okay, he's always surprising me, too. He's always surprising me. I hope you guys are having a nice Friday. I hope you are preparing for an even better weekend. I know I am. Somebody give me the weekend. Somebody give me the weekend. But yeah, it's been a great Friday. We have a great show lined up for you today, and we're gonna hear from our contributor who it's been a little while since we've spoken on the phone, but she's fire like that. So I really enjoy when she calls. I'm looking forward to getting her on the line. Let me tell you about a couple of things though. For any one of you who were looking forward to a sequel to Love Jones, which is one of the best classic Black films, trust me and believe. It's just such a feel-good film. That was Lorenz Tate and Nia Long. They starred in that movie. Who else was in that film? It was, it was a great film. They were the two stars. I guess that's really all that matters. But it doesn't look like you are going to get a sequel to that. People ask all the time. They're like, they ask all the stars to these big names. Of course, we've been asking for more Fridays for a little while. Yeah, people want Friday though. They want another Friday, even though we have two of the biggest stars who had passed away from that cast. And some say that Friday sequels had never really added up to what the original Friday was. And people say that that's what they fear about Love Jones. Specifically, Lorenz Tate says that's why he doesn't want to do it. He says he just doesn't feel like it'll add up to the original, the hype of the original. So some stuff you should just leave alone. So that's a good look, Lorenz Tate. And so let's just find another way to create another version or another, feel-good film like Love Jones. Okay, so also many of us found out today that Blue Ivy, who is the daughter of Jay-Z and Beyonce, what her name was supposed to be, and it made me so happy. Her name was supposed to be Brooklyn. Yeah, Yeah, and I got a Brooklyn, so I'm representing for that all day. As you know, that is where Jay-Z, where he's from, and her name was supposed to be Brooklyn Carter. So super dope. But we got Blue Ivy, and we all love that name. That sounds like a star name as well. Let's talk about what the Raw Report is, though, Andy. Let's get to that.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
My goodness. It's funny watching the entertainment news online and all the different sources that I use to get the entertainment news. It's always interesting when I find things that really would spark a nice conversation. And yesterday I prepped you guys and told you a little bit of something that I wanted to bring up in conversation today, and that is Coi Leray, who is a young star. She's pretty young. She's up and coming, but she's great. I actually really like Coi Leray. She's really, really great. She asked a question, basically, what makes an icon these days? Do you see that quality, that star quality in any artist right now? What is it? I want to talk about it. I want to almost create an icon, an imaginary icon. What would that person look like today? So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about Black media. This is an interesting conversation. What has happened or what is happening with Essence, Vibe magazine, Jet magazine, like all these magazines that we grew up on, and how we got our entertainment. It seems as though they're no longer being supported, and we know why. We know because you get fast news nowadays. You get blogs. You get, it's everything is up to the minute, up to the second, very, very much. So I want to talk about that and what it takes for us not to lose. Those are something that I feel there at some point might become memorabilia, but there's something that I believe that's pretty important. We're also, if we have a little bit more time, we will talk about Kim Kardashian's Skims line for men. Check this out. Like, can you, it used to be Fruit of the Looms. It used to be, Hanes, right? It used to be all these different kinds of men's boxers and underwear for men. Why not Skims? And they've proven why not. We'll talk about what's happening with Kim Kardashian's Skims line for men. But right now, I want to go ahead and introduce our entertainment contributor who is on the line. This is Miles Bloxton, Miles to Mogul. Hey there, Miles.
Hey, Robin.
Good to hear from you. Glad that you could call in today, and it's definitely good to have you on. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Let me just set it up, and what we might do, I'll let you know about this Coi Leray thing. For those of you who are listening, again, I read a little bit of this yesterday, but I'm gonna set it up because I want to get your reaction to this and your thoughts on this when we come forward. But Coi Leray, again, she's a young artist. She's a rapper / singer / artist. Okay, she's a great artist, I feel. Well, she went online and she said, back in the days, it was easy to define an icon. For example, Janet Jackson, Beyonce, Rhea, Sierra, Missy, many more. I noticed things changed. So I'm asking, what makes an icon today? Streams, likes, numbers? She says stage presence, vocals, cadence, fashion, versatility, choreography, effort, bars, lyrics. Does it not matter? Oh, she wants to know what everybody wants to see, or to be honest, if it even matters anymore. So I think this is actually high level thinking. I think she is thinking high level, and that to me comes from people who have an intention. They're setting an intention to figure out, what it takes to be a star, what it takes to be an icon, more than a star. An icon is different than a star. So when we come forward, Miles, I definitely want to get your thoughts and sort of unpack this whole generation and what we're seeing and what it takes to be an icon. I felt like it was a great question, so we will ask you on the other side. But right now, we are, you're listening to The Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, BB, and you're listening to me on The Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're inside The Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Los Angeles, Black men are dying from preventable health causes and diseases, but you can be part of the solution. Join us Saturday, November 11th at the Michelle and Barack Obama Sports Complex next to Dorsey High for the African American Male Wellness 5K Walk and Run. Walk for your brother, walk for your father, walk for your son, walk for your uncle, walk for yourself. This is a free, family-friendly event for the entire community. We'll have free health screenings, vendors, kids' activities, and more. We'll see you at 8 a.m.
Hey, nacho fries are back at Taco Bell, and there's even more fries to love. But they're not going to hang around forever, so don't wait. Or you might miss out on these hot, crisp fries covered in all those bold Mexican spices with delicious nacho cheese sauce. Or wait and just settle for flavorless fries. Regular, bland, spiceless, flavorless, flimsy, non-nacho fries. Just an absolute bummer of a fry.
Nacho fries are back. Get them today, only at Taco Bell. And participate in U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact a local store for hours and participation which vary.
King C. Gillette knows you're dedicated to your barbershop routine. But what about after? What's your routine for facial hair to avoid dry skin, itching, and beard rough? Well, the King C. Gillette Beard Oil is a perfect fit for making your beard feel as good as it looks. It softens your facial hair and moisturizes to help prevent itch due to dry skin. Get facial hair that feels as good as it looks. Just trim, wash, and soften with King C. Gillette.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Raw Report. With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, let's go ahead and get Miles Blockson back on the line. And we were discussing Coi Leray and her beautiful, beautiful, high-level, high-thinking question that she had about what makes an icon today, because we can name all the icons from the past, but what about today? So Miles, do you agree with me that she sounds like somebody with great intention? Like, I love somebody who, if you're in a field, if this is your career that you've chosen, you ask questions about it because you want to get better, you really want to know, and it sounds like that's what she's doing. Give me your thoughts on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that for her to be thinking about that speaks volumes of her, because a lot of people, I feel like her age, they don't care about being an icon. They just want to be Instagram famous. So for her to be like, what does it take to be an icon? You know, what does it take to get respect in this industry? She's thinking a lot bigger than I think most people are. They're trying to get the bag. They want the fame, but they're not thinking about, like, legacy, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Do you feel like there is a way to become an icon, that somebody born in today's time and they are using all the tools that we have at our fingertips, social media and SoundCloud and all of the things? Do you feel like just by way of them using those things, they can still become iconic if they're not doing the work of what the icons from back in the day used to do?
It's so relative, right? Because it really depends on your own frequency and where you're at to who you even revere as an icon or who you even see as an icon. Like, I might look at Janet Jackson and be like, that's an icon, right? And somebody else might look at Jocelyn Hernandez, no shade to her, and say, Jocelyn, what's her name from Love and Hip Hop from a long time ago? You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yes, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. My God, I cringed when you said, I mean, I'm not trying to shade, but for real, yeah.
Yeah, but somebody could look at her and be like, in their eyes, that's an icon to them. So I think that everybody has their own mode of what they think an icon is and who is an icon to them based on their goals in life. So I think that in today's time, for an all-around icon, I think that they would definitely need to have, like, every single thing covered. They need to be multi-talented. They need to be graceful. They need to be unique. They need to be a trendsetter. They need to do things their way, you know, because there's so many ways to do things these days, but do it their way and stay, like, authentic to themselves. And I think right now, everything is just so watered down. So how do they emerge? How do they come about? Like, will we have another one? Will we have another LeBron James? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's like one of those things that you really have to think about and what makes sense to you and where you're at in your life, right?
Right. You're right about that. But you know what's so interesting? The people who we would probably deem an icon, first of all, people are using that word too loosely. You know, you're not an icon.
Yeah.
For real. You probably you're a big star. You're definitely a big star, but you're using that word icon too loosely. But I feel like anybody who, you know, this generation would call an icon was born into this right on the cusp of this newfound kind of like this new wave versus the old school. So like my example is like Drake, for instance, right? People will probably call him an icon. He's sold billions and billions of he's streams and records, and he's charted super high. He's actually, remember, he just beat out Michael Jackson for one of Andy don't want to hear that, but this is true. He just beat out Michael Jackson.
I don't either.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? And it's there's a conversation around that. Like, look what Michael Jackson actually had to do with what he had back then. He didn't have the social media or the fast way to get into your face, or, you know, to put records in your face or anything like that. You had to get up, go out, leave your home, go buy an album, go stand in line. You had to do all of that back in the day. So the fact that Michael Jackson reached the pinnacle of success, having, you know, done all of those things, how can you compare someone like Drake, right? So that's a fair argument. But I feel like Drake he came out in like 2005-ish, 2006,
something like that.
That was still, think about that. That was 18 years ago, like nearly 20 years ago. And so that was still back in those times where things weren't as advanced as they are even right now. So, you know, I don't know. My question right now is inside of our YouTube chat is, can you identify anybody who's got the marks, the making right now of being an icon?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
It is.
Because today's times are just so different. Like, you even talking about, you know, Michael Jackson and how he got to where he is, like, way different, like you said, than Drake. So it's just so different. I feel like like you said, we use a term too loosely, and we put the crown on anybody's head, you know, easily. Like, oh, that person's where it's at. And then next week they're canceled. Now that person's where it's at. So it's so relative.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're
Do
right.
you have anybody?
I would say Chris Brown has what it takes to be iconic. But also Chris Brown came in back in the day as well. He wasn't a part of this super new wave. Andy, who do you have in mind? Because you cringe in your face over here. Who do you have in mind?
First off, I want to say I do think it's relative. I do think it's a little bit of semantics too. You know what I'm saying? You could go ahead and interchange icon and legend at the same time. But for me, this is just me personally. For a lot of people, this might be a localized icon. But for me, man, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yes. That's a fact. Yes. That is a fact. But let me ask you this question. If you are, an icon that used to be what we used to name an icon from back in the day was globally known, and someone who someone who even just say nationally known. A lot of people, of course, now we say a lot of people kind of jumped on the bandwagon of Nipsey Hussle, and they were like, Nipsey was an icon, but they learned so much after he passed away, where a lot of us, especially from the West Coast or LA specifically, knew all about Nipsey from way back in the day. So could Nipsey be considered, was he an icon when he was alive versus now that he posthumously?
Unfortunately, no.
Right.
Unfortunately, no, because didn't nobody really know him like that until he passed away.
Yeah.
Or actually until he got with Lauren London. I think that kind of elevated his persona, at least with the ladies.
Yep.
And then, of course, with his, untimely passing, that definitely. But while he was alive, I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Yeah. Miles, do you believe that if he would have been still alive, he still would have reached the same sort of icon status?
Absolutely. I totally think so, because he was doing so many things in his community, and he had plans to do things outside of his community, which I think other people would have looked at it like, ooh, I can do this in my community. So I think that he was setting himself up for, being known everywhere, all over the world, easily. Easily done.
Yeah, for sure.
But he needed more time, for sure. He needed more time.
Definitely untimely death that it's just so unfortunate. I
got an icon for you.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
tell me.
Barack Obama.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I know right now we're talking about artistry, you know what I'm saying? But, that's something, and actually, Miles, I believe you touched on this. If you're talking like a LeBron, for instance, LeBron is definitely an icon. That's, in sports or whatever. But yeah, Barack, I'd give him that. Forrest Harrison definitely agreed with you and Andy both have the same you're both agreeing with Nipsey Hussle. He was an icon for sure. And I feel like he was an LA icon, but after he passed, he became sort of this global icon, right? Everybody wanted to, I don't like that. I don't like the bandwagon people. Forrest, let's get you in here. Forrest calling from Compton, California. Hey.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm out here in the desert in my mobile home. And listening.
Love that. Thank you for listening in the desert.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Check this out. I think icons change the way things are done in a positive way. So let's say, for instance, Rakim would be an icon due to the fact that he changed the way that people rap, from the silly rap to the serious. And I did say Nipsey Hussle because I followed him really since '99, and he's a guy that I never really talked to him, but I saw him all the time passing by because I have an office right there in Leimert Park, and so when I watched this kid grow and the things that he did in to try to change the way the perception is, and there was a lot of stuff that he did that never really got a chance to get out there because he died before he got a chance to do it. And when you take all of that into consideration, I definitely will put him on an iconic list. And a lot of people caught on to him after the fact, but it doesn't negate the fact of the things that he did and that he was doing and that he tried to do. And, he could have signed a long time ago with a record label, but he didn't because he didn't feel like he had to, and a lot of people will take that million or two and run with it and do whatever, but he said no, and because of that, it elevated him to another status where he was able to get about 30, when he finally decided to go ahead and sign with somebody. So, yeah, I definitely would say him due to the fact that the things that he did.
Well, thank you for that, Forrest. And you're right. I do believe that had he still been alive, he was just making many marks in the city, but also nationally. Like let's not trip. He was not just an LA guy. Like he was everywhere. Exactly. He was doing his thing, but it was growing. And anytime there's a seed planted and you're growing and you're teaching people, that's what he was great at. He was teaching people.
And real quick, just to say one thing that people didn't know, and people can go and look this up. He was poised to buy the most expensive hotel at Santa Monica, right on the shore, And people didn't like that. There was a certain group of people who didn't like that. But what could they do? He had the money to do it. He was going to do it. And unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to finish the deal.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. I didn't know that.
You can Google that as well. Yeah.
Forrest,
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that he was doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Before I let you get out of here, who do you think has the markings, the early makings maybe of an icon right now?
You know, I'd say from
outside of Nipsey. I know you gave us Nipsey already.
Yeah. Well, I live in Compton, and I grew up right by USC. So, but I'm gonna say, what's the kid's name?
Kendrick.
Guy.
Oh no.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
gonna say Kendrick.
Okay.
Yes.
So you and Miles agree. Okay. All right. Well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey Miles, how you doing? I used to listen to you on the other show on KBLA early in the morning.
Oh, okay. No.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. Looking forward. He be representing.
Okay.
He be representing. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Forrest. Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. Hey, Miles. So you agreed with Forrest that that Kendrick Lamar has the makings to be iconic. Give me briefly your idea of where that comes from. Why Kendrick? Outside of his talent, we know he's talented.
Yes, because he's so authentic. It seems like his musical genius has just elevated over the years, and the fact that he has like access to more resources, and you can see his music just getting better and better. And then I was able to see him 2 weekends in a row at ACL because we have a music festival out here called Austin City Limits in Texas, and I saw him live both times, and it did not disappoint. I was never bored. It was amazing. Like he takes his lyrical content so seriously, and he's not in the limelight. He kind of has that old school vibe where you see him where you see him.
That's right.
But
I
it's
like
not
that.
Like we don't get photos of Kendrick Lamar every day. We don't know what he wore Monday through Friday to the gym. We don't even know if he goes to the gym. We have no idea. I don't even think I've seen his kids' faces before. You know, so I just love the mystery behind him. We never know when he's going to drop a project until he decides to poke up on Instagram randomly and be like, hey, got a project coming out. And
You're
like,
talking about something. Okay. You're actually talking about something, and that's something that I want to unpack a little bit further because there is that accessibility factor. We'll continue more of that on the other side. Right now, we got news, traffic, and sports. You guys are listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Denzel Whitaker, and I'm on the Raw Report.
More of the Raw Report with Robin Ayers when we come forward.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Jonathan Majors' ex-girlfriend is being arrested for allegedly hitting the actor. Majors, who is black, is currently under investigation for domestic assault after his ex Grace Jabari accused him of attacking her inside of an apartment back in March. Jabari was arrested on Wednesday evening in New York after Majors filed a cross-complaint against her several months ago. Jay-Z, who is black, still plans to release new music in the future, but under one condition. In a clip of an interview with Gayle King, who is black, the rapper was asked when he plans to return to the studio, to which Jay-Z responded that he's not ruling out the possibility of making new music, but it has to be meaningful. He added that he has to be saying something important and something that means something to a larger society. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wynn on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Over in Malibu, an overturned vehicle crash is currently causing all lanes to be blocked on Topanga Canyon Boulevard northbound before Fernwood Pacific Drive, causing stop traffic throughout. On the 57 South at Grand Avenue in Diamond Bar, watch for an accident on the right shoulder with heavy traffic coming from Temple. A stall is in the middle lane of Sherman Oaks 101 South before Van Nuys Boulevard, with a 10 to 15-minute traffic jam running heavy from Winnetka Avenue. And in Sepulveda passes 405 North after Getty Center Drive, watch for a stall currently in the right lane, while heavy traffic continues from Wilshire Boulevard.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Deion Sanders Show is playing in L.A. this weekend. Sanders and his Colorado Buffaloes are in town to play UCLA Saturday at the Rose Bowl. 4:30 kickoff on ABC. A sellout crowd of more than 70,000 is expected. Don't be surprised to see some of the top high school players in the LA area on the Colorado sidelines. Dion is recruiting in the LA market. Colorado is 1-3 in their last 4 games, but the program is still popular. Tomorrow night at 7 here on KBLA, join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for Out of Bounds. We'll recap the first week of the NBA season, preview Week 8 in the NFL, and tell you about a couple of sports connections with the legendary Richard Roundtree. You can join the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Leimert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
A sense of peace, a place to kick back and put down roots, a lasting legacy. However you define home, at City National, we're committed to helping you get there with our City National Ladder Up Home Loan Program. Find the full benefits at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National Bank, here for our clients and communities. Ladder Up program is available only in select areas. Terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS ID 536994.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Keeping you informed about what's really going on. Who's got next? And what not to miss in entertainment. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
I know you wanna be the main one. I got a whole list of names on the way. I ain't with the same one. Ooh, I love when you drop it down low, but you're still high maintenance.
You are listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Friday. We're getting on, ready to go into the weekend. Andy's bringing the vibes, as he always does. Who is this, Andy? Oh, new Mario. Okay. This is nice. All right. So let's go ahead and bring Miles Bloxon back on the line, because we are having this, I feel like it's a very fascinating conversation. And we're going to pretty much, this pretty much bleeds right into the next conversation of when we're talking about the magazines that were that were very prevalent back in the day, but now they're sort of losing their way. But before we get into Essence and Vibe magazine and Jet magazine and all that, Miles, we were talking on the other side. Coyle Ray, she asked the question. She said, what makes an icon today? And she's young. She's in this new wave. And these new artists, they pretty much, for the most part, we're saying that not many people are icons. We're using the word icons. But Andy and I, we were having this conversation, and he brought up a very good point. Icon is a symbol of someone who changes the game, somebody who stands for something. They're a symbol of that. Legends, according to my research, are stories of amazing feats that may or may not be true, particularly if they've been that's legends. But legendary, it's a little bit different. Icon is a symbol. I think that's a great point. We're talking over here in the YouTube chat, and you guys have identified, of course, all the greats. You're saying Michael Jackson and Dionne Warwick and Mariah Carey. Pretty Brown Mimi says Mary J. Blige, Janet Jackson. These are great people, but have they changed the game? Nipsey Hussle is probably one of the best examples that I could agree with. You guys have touched on that as an icon because he changed the game. Even posthumously, he has changed the game. But before we on the other side, Miles, you started talking about accessibility and how Kendrick Lamar to you he has the makings of an icon. And one of those things is we don't get to talk to or see much or read much about Kendrick Lamar. He's very talented, so he's going to make you listen when he drops a record. But also, you don't know his business, so it's even more intriguing. Is that a part of the star quality, that icon quality that makes someone, legendary or an icon? The fact that you can't access them like back in the day before there were social media?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it is a part of the mystique because I think we see the same thing with Beyonce. Like, we don't see her doing interviews left and right. Mm-hmm. She picks and chooses when she lets you in, and sometimes it's a whole movie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that's how she lets you in. So I think that, certain people, they realize I'm talented. I don't have to share all of myself with everybody, but I'm going to share my talent with you, and then I'm just going to fade to black. And then I'll be back to share that again when I feel like it. I think there's just something extremely special about that. And it allows the artist to really stay in their creative mode and just live their life, and I think draw inspiration from the way that they're living and to make better art. You know what I mean? I think when people are so accessible, how can they be in their own mind? There's so much chatter in the world, right? There's so much stuff going on. How do you even get to stay in your bubble so that you can make art and make it true to yourself and, like, make it authentically? Sure. Without being, without taking on everybody else's thoughts and feelings and all that other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Lavelle Delone says Prince continuously changed the game. Absolutely. The more we have this conversation, the longer we talk and we keep mentioning people, we all say, well, they're older. They're from that older generation, and they had a special making. They had some things. And before we move on, I was writing a couple of things, just thinking to myself, what made that star-like quality? I'm no longer going to talk about icons because right now, I don't know that we could identify them, but at least that's real star quality. Andy?
Back in the day, there was a lot of artist development, when it comes to music. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, it's a hustle for these cats.
Yeah.
So they're not taking the time to, I guess, appreciate the art that they're working on. You know what I mean? They're just doing it just to be doing it. People would have teams and strategies on, what way you should go when it comes to the music or however way it should go. So I think that aspect of artist development is lacking, and that's one of the reasons why it's probably a little bit more difficult to reach icon status.
That's 100% true, and thank you for saying that, because artist development is at the very top of my list. That's what they used to do. That's what it was like non-negotiable before you went into the market, that you had to be developed as an artist. They would sit down and study legends. They would study them. How do they perform? What are their I have on here performances, real dancers. That used to be a thing, actual choreography, costumes, and like especially groups. Remember, Miles? Like, I mean, think about New Edition and all the old school, even further back than that.
Yeah.
Talk about the Whispers and if you go back, you look at how they pulled it together. Yeah, they may have been some 3-piece suits and stuff, but they pulled it together and they looked like a group. They looked, uniform.
They sure did.
Yeah, they looked really good. Media training, that used to be a part of the artist development, but media training and it's funny that you mentioned Beyonce not really doing these interviews anymore. But Beyonce, she used to do some interviews, but she had such a Houston, kind of twang going on. Yeah, accent. That's a very nice way to say it. I call it twang. Robin. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but she people would make fun of her oftentimes, for what she said or how she spoke. And so I think she stopped doing it. Maybe that was one of the reasons. But also the fact that she married Jay-Z, and the two of them together are brilliant when it comes to marketing and how to elevate your brand and things like that. So I believe that was part of the discussion. Like, we're not going to do interviews like that. And if we are, it's going to be very intentional. So, with Beyonce, that's just my thought. You agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that 100%, because you think about them and they keep to themselves, and then you look at the Kardashians, they're all out, and we call them marketing. They do good at marketing too. So I think it's just you got to pick your lane and how you want to present yourself.
Definitely.
And stick to it.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. Lavelle says groups are a thing of the past. No one wants to share the bag. It's true. It's sad, but it's true. And to Andy's point, everybody wants to just get a piece of it. Everybody just wants to grab a quick bag. No one's thinking longevity. So that's why I appreciate Coyle Ray's question, because it sounds like she's talking about longevity. I don't know if she has what it takes or not, but hopefully. Houston, Texas says, I truly believe we can come together and support iconic movements and grow, such as how we feel when we see our iconic movie roots. Yo, that's fantastic. And that's a great segue into, I was listening to a conversation. Actually, they were having this conversation on the Breakfast Club about these magazines that no longer get love. They're no longer supported. These black magazines that we all grew up on. Tell me, like, didn't you used to go over to your parents or grandparents or aunties or, neighbors, the black neighbors, and everybody used to have the Jet magazine on the coffee table or something? And you used to pick it up and flip through it, and that's where you found out all the good information. And it was something so wholesome about that. And it feels as though they're no longer being supported because we have all this information in real time with these blogs and these entertainment sites. Do you feel as though they can kind of make a comeback, or is it done? Are we just kind of, it's finito?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't keep up with other major news platforms. They didn't change with the times. I felt like they kind of thought we were just going to stick around. And I think some of us still have, but I think that we're caught up in this new news cycle where we're getting delivered information every single day.
Yeah.
So I think that if they would have jumped in and made their own TV shows, which I know they have some presence on like YouTube and things like that, I think they should have jumped on sooner with the social media stuff and kind of did like a twist to what they already had going on. Because I even remember like Word Up and Hype magazine. Like, where did those go?
Oh,
Same
man.
thing happened to those. You know what I mean? Like, you knew if you bought a Word Up or a Hype magazine, you were going to need a picture of like your favorite artist and pin it on your wall somewhere. We don't have that anymore. That kind of went away. So it's kind of about evolving and changing as a brand. Because there's other magazines that have been out just as long as those, if not longer, that are still, people are still buying them and people are still going to their website. Like People Magazine is a good example. Like their website is a destination place for people to look up information on a daily basis about celebrities. You know what I mean? They were able to go from the magazine to your computer. So I think that, that's a big thing. That might have been a big loss for them. I don't know how many marketing dollars they put behind keeping up with the times, but it just seems like they weren't able to do so. Can they make a comeback? I think absolutely. But I think it's going to take some money, and it's going to take some, like some big interviews to do that, things that other people don't have access to.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Andy, give me your thoughts.
I guess I appreciate Miles' positive perspective on this, because I was going to say I don't think magazines will ever make a comeback, because who's reading the newspaper? You know what I'm saying? You want to read the newspaper, I mean, LA Times or New York Times or whatever, Houston Chronicles, they got websites nowadays. You know what I'm saying? People grabbing news from their cell phones, and like the magazine has become the podcast now. You know what I mean? So
because it's real time.
Yeah, I just don't see people grabbing magazines and flipping through the pages anymore, man. You have a cell phone. You got your magazine, newspaper, everything in your cell phone, right in your hand.
Can I just say this though? What's interesting about this, as a person who I curate content, right? That's what I do, especially for this show. But also I'm a writer. I write for other publications and things like that. What's interesting about this is nobody knows this, or they don't think twice about this. But Miles, if you run a blog, if you run, one of these entertainment sites online, like on social media, they have people who are searching. You get your stories from magazines. So let me give you an example. Say Viola Davis does a sit-down interview, old school style. She goes and sits down with for an interview with a journalist from Elle magazine. I just threw that out there, Elle magazine or some other magazine. And she goes on this lengthy storytelling, because she tells you about a time that XYZ happened. And it's something that the public has never heard before. Well, what happens is the journalists will put that information out, and they'll put it in the magazine. But you have people who who work for these entertainment sites, and they go and they find that sound bite, but it's in written form. And they'll say, Viola Davis once had, XYZ, something, whatever she told in that interview. But then that goes to that short form content will go to a media or social media, and they'll say, for more on this story, they'll write an entire story about something that has already been written about in a magazine. So magazines still have their place. It's just, it's hard I think, to be quite honest with you, they are white-owned media magazines. Black magazines, I don't, for whatever reason, we're not showing them the same love. We're not giving them the same love. But that's actually how it works, just so that we're clear. Before we move forward, Fahima, let's get Fahima on the line to get her thoughts on this. Hey, Fahima.
Greetings, Robin. Just really quickly, both Vibe Magazine and Essence Magazine are still around. They're online. In fact, Tavis had my friend Kevin Powell on, who wrote a review for this movie on the other day in Vibe. And Shea Moisture owns Essence. Remember the controversy around the recent Essence Festival? And Essence Magazine is Black-owned. The family that owns Shea Moisture owns Essence Magazine. It's still it's Black-owned, and they've kept up with the times. They're online, and they're doing a number of things. They're just not in paper print anymore.
Well, here's the deal. No one's saying that they're not around. We're not. That's not the conversation. It is the lack of support, to keep them around. Will they remain around? And even I went over to social media right now, and I was looking at Vibe Magazine. Vibe Magazine has 361,000 followers online. They don't do enough, in my opinion, in numbers, in social media numbers. They are trying to keep up with, to Miles, you made this point, they're trying to, and Andy, keeping up with this generation, keeping up with being online and everything, when that's not necessarily their moneymaker. They're just trying to keep up. But they have a large following. They still don't get a lot of love, because that is not the tea. That's not the juice. That's not what's going on. That's not the Shade Room or Hollywood Unlocked or something.
Vibe Magazine is white-owned. Essence is still Black-owned. And as I mentioned, the family that owns Shea Moisture, they just very quick, because I know you're about to wrap up. They bought Harriet Tubman's house in upstate New York, and they have place for writers to create new writers. And remember the controversy around the Essence Festival? They're in Black hands. But I'm going to hang up because I know you, time is short.
Well, thank you so much, Fahima. We appreciate you. Miles, your thoughts. You say that you hope literally that they stay around. But Andy doesn't believe it. Andy feels like it's just going to be a thing of the past. I mean, is there something that you think that we can do as a society? Do you think that the pendulum will swing back? Do you feel like there's something we can do to kind of go back and start to support it, or is it just a thing of the past?
I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore because I don't know where it's going to go, but I also can see Andy's perspective on this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's something where, we do like our content quickly. And I also understand the process that you discussed, too, because I used to work for a magazine, and we even used to get information from other places. Like, we heard, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt not getting along. Well, let's call a therapist and see what they look like in their current picture to see what their body language is. Like, that's how silly articles can be sometimes. Yep. And people just eat it up. So I just think that, Essence and Vibe and other places can come back, but they're just going to have to aggressively attack the social media platform or whatever's popping at that moment. They're going to have to take full advantage of it, put a lot of dollars behind it. You can't do stuff the old school way anymore. It's just not resonating with people.
Yeah.
And that's just, we just have a quick attention span these days. What can we do?
Andy?
Real quick, are kids still reading comic books? And number two, I'm curious to know what book sales are when it comes to like Barnes and Nobles and stuff like that, with the rise of like Audible and stuff like that.
Very good point. I know. Well, Miles, we have to say goodbye, but I really want you to come back soon. I enjoy our conversations. Sure. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And let everybody know where they can find you online.
Yes, you can find me at Miles Tomogul on Instagram. That's MilesTomogul. Andy, I just bought a book today, and I have like hundreds of books, so I'm into books. Audible can't do it for me.
We already know that. We already know because you are very intelligent. We already know that, Miles.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you enjoy your night and have a happy weekend, a beautiful weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Well, when we come forward, we might just I don't know, we might just tee off with y'all in the conversation when we come forward. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Eric Bellinger hanging out right here with my family at the Raw Report. Keep it locked.
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep, That is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Rob Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm telling you, the show really does fly by a lot. I mean, an hour goes by really, really fast. So we definitely always appreciate you guys hanging in here with us and chilling with us. And even those of you, like Houston, Texas says, we need a longer show. Andy, that's what the people are saying. That's what they're saying. We're like, send all emails. KBLA. Anyway, it's always great having these conversations with you. And I feel like I love having conversations that are meaningful, more so than anything else, meaningful conversations. And today I believe was one of those. I hear you, Pretty Brown Mimi, who says books are still cool. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Books, by the way, because times are different. So if you have to listen to your book, you know, like I do, I'm in my car quite a bit, so I have to listen to a lot of my books. But either way, you can absorb that knowledge, absorb that content. I think that's fire. Yeah, I know. I see you. I hear you. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Forrest. Thank you so much for the phone call. Shout out to Miles Blockson. Great having conversations with her as well. Andy, I appreciate you as always. Thank you for keeping the vibe going. You know that it's Friday, and that means that Zoe Williams is going to be the best of Zoe Williams today. So you still want to keep that on lock. I will say this as we are heading out of here. Do all that you can to, I mean, I know we have to move on with the times and we have to adhere to new standards. What is this generation doing? I know technology and social media and all those things, but if it means, you know, if we can still have our hand on what was and kind of bring it forward, however we can do that. It's more support, more reading, more, you know, subscribes, whatever that means. You guys go ahead and do that. I am your host, Robin Ayers. And remember, today and every day forward, be a blessing.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Jonathan Majors' ex-girlfriend is being arrested for allegedly hitting the actor. Majors, who is black, is currently under investigation for domestic assault after his ex Grace Jabari accused him of attacking her inside of an apartment back in March. Jabari was arrested on Wednesday evening in New York after Majors filed a cross-complaint against her several months ago. Jay-Z, who is black, still plans to release new music in the future